It's great, first off, as a non-commissioned officer myself, to see no officers in here, which means we'll get things done. I want to start out with the fact that you talked about key things for me that I can understand, which is pay, the barrack standards, quality of life, health care, child care, food insecurity, but also I want to talk about morale, priorities, and recruitment. I've seen over the coming years, I went back in with the original Be All You Can Be days. And back then, we were really focused on things like increased lethality and readiness. I have seen where, in some regards, the prioritization of CRT and DEI became something that was above the actual ability to maintain standards instead of lowering standards to meet actual numbers. And that was concerning because we know that the adversaries that we're going to face in the future are going to be much different than what we have been facing. So in knowing that, cost of living and inflation takes a massive hit. In my opinion, the 4.6% increase, while that sounds great, is nothing whenever you're talking about a 10 to 13% increase in cost of living and inflation. It's actually an invisible defunding of our military is what it really is. And when you can't actually feed your families and you can't have the ability to go and train and fight knowing that your spouse and your children at home are being taken care of, that takes our priorities away. I'd love to see something where we're able to put a bill on the floor that allows us to tie our rate of increase from our military's salaries to the rate of increase of our inflation to guarantee that no one could actually be invisibly defunded again. And I think that that's one of the things that we should be working on. In going over this and knowing that we are having the access to care challenges, and knowing that I can remember in Fort Bragg when we were sitting in World War II barracks with black mold and everything else, and you just kind of drive on. What do you think, personally, outside of pay, is the number one issue for a lot of the people with regards to the deficit in morale? Any of you can start.
Congressman, thank you for the question. I will say that the retention in the United States Army has been exceptionally well. We're at the highest level of retaining our soldiers than we have in a long time. And we've been consistent in the last 10 years of retaining those soldiers. And that's how I meter morale. It's not 100%, but it's a good indication that once they join the team, they actually want to stay on the team. So we've seen our retention stay steady. It's about accessions. It's about getting new recruits into the military. And so we've consistently met every requirement that the United States has asked us to do in lethality, and our soldiers actually want to execute those missions, and then they want to stay with the team. So to answer your question specifically on morale, I just look at retention, and our retention numbers are consistently high.
And an understanding that retention is obviously key, we're also going to face a time period whereby retirement age and retirement capabilities are going to overturn, and our recruitment numbers wouldn't be able to maintain and keep up with that. That's just a harsh reality. And I know that our messaging, I can remember when I'd go into the recruitment station, I wanted to see the Ranger video where they're kicking doors, jumping out of planes, and doing really cool stuff. Now all of a sudden it's about how do we address our fellow soldier, airmen, and what pronouns we're utilizing, which in my opinion wasn't exactly the quality for me. So knowing that the Marine Corps prides itself on being first to fight, have you seen an increase by chance, and this kind of ties into the morale perspective, have you seen an increase branch-wide with regards to an increase of Article 15s or utilization of disciplinary actions?
Congressman, sir, thank you for the question. The simple answer to your question is no. If anything, it's normal, right, based upon wherever those actions are that commanders are taking to maintain good order and discipline, sir.
Thank you so much. And just in my last seconds, understanding that our armed forces and our NCOs are really the core of our armed forces. This is exactly what every one of our adversaries continue to strive to achieve, is to get to a non-commissioned officer corps like we have, like no other country has. They are a lot of times top down. They don't have the actual backbone that we have. And so any recommendations that you guys can submit later, whether it be in writing or otherwise, to continue to support our non-commissioned officers corps, how we can strengthen our military and how we can continue to contribute to our armed forces, I'd love to be able to receive that in my office. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, gentlemen. Time has expired.